Do you identify with the really unfair trope of the angry black woman?
Absolutely not. Like, I mean, who's angry? And this is part of, I believe, the problem. I worked in, in various corporates. I've worked in charitable organizations. You know what I thought it was? Is that they were responding based on what they think black women's behavior should be.
Right.
Not what it actually was. In those roles, I made friends really quickly with, other colleagues. Clients always respected me and appreciated my work. To some middle management people, that would seem as though I was in a higher role. There was some hierarchy there. So that's what I believed that it was. It was that, oh no, you can't be as good as me because your position is down there. And so it was easy for them to identify something about me that they could control. And it always came up with, oh, you're angry, you spoke to a colleague too loud, or you have performance issues. I spent a greater part of 10 years of my life in Australia having to deal with that. And I won't even mention to you the 5 or 6 charitable organizations that I worked for that I had to deal with. And what I did was I walked away because I'm really good at identifying with what is correct in my life and what is not. And that's what I did.
What I find really interesting, and you landed on it earlier when you described white women who you had to report to. Let's pivot slightly into the world of feminism, just quickly, and this idea of the sisterhood, and that we're all protected by this. I think it's a fantastical concept. What do you feel?
Look, I mean, for me, it's extremely difficult to identify with any sisterhood. Now, for instance, there was a I don't know, I can't even say it was an African American, but there was a black sisterhood happening in Australia that started growing, say, from the mid-90s, because there were less black women coming to this country in the 80s, but in the mid-90s there were. And they were all around. So there were Melbourne, Perth, Sydney, and, quickly formed a, WhatsApp group where we would all do things of black nature. I found that challenging.
What's that?
Yeah, that's it. We would get together, identify books that we wanted to read.
Okay.
We would, if you were in Sydney, we'd all have picnics together. If you were in Melbourne, you would have picnic that same weekend. But this was about bringing black women together and their children so that we can learn from one another. I found that difficult because when you say black women, you're talking about women from all over the world, and every black culture is different. So It's like every Aboriginal culture is different because we're all different by design from whatever community that we come from. So I don't still, in 2026, find that there's a, sisterhood amongst women in Australia. It doesn't exist for me. I think Australian women, we're still not supporting one another. I mean, there are women that walk around in hijabs, and there are other women that look at them as if there's something wrong. So we don't have that sisterhood yet. And that could come from many other, maybe it's a very misogynistic or community that we still live in Australia. I don't know.